What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So, today I wanted to talk about a fairly spicy guitar topic, right? I see lots of people online always debating this topic in a very heated fashion, so I figured we would touch on it, right? This is my 2023 Murphy Lab Relic'd aged, custom shop Les Paul, right? So, what we're going to talk about today is just that. We're going to talk about relicking. Relic'd guitars, aged guitars, right? That's what we're going to talk about. So, what's the deal with relic'd and aged guitars, right? Some people seem to be totally okay with it. Like, they look cool, they're great, I like them. And then some people think it's like almost equivalent to stolen valor to have a relic, a brand new guitar that you paid more money for to be artificially aged in relic, right? So we are going to talk about it and give you my real takeaway on relic guitars, right? So let's start with, we'll end on artificially relic'd brand new guitars, but let's start with something a little more, that people seem to like, people don't have a problem with at all, right? And that is good old-fashioned, natural, I played the crap out of this guitar and it's beat up type wear, right? So this is my 2021 Les Paul Deluxe that I've modified and put full-size humbuckers in, and as you can see, this guitar, look at the back of this thing. If you can get past the stickers, look at all of the buckle rash and this big chunk right here that's missing, all of this paint that's been rubbed away, this little neck crack up here that I had fixed. You can see where it cracked and the binding even broke. See if I can get that to focus. Yeah, the binding broke right there on the first dot. And, this guitar has been through all of it, right? I got this guitar 20 years ago, and I was the first owner. It sat in a music store for a few years, and I bought it when I was 17. That story's on my YouTube channel. You can watch that video and hear that story, but I've taken this guitar everywhere with me. I've probably played thousands of shows on it. I've recorded most of the stuff, even to this day, that my bands record. I typically use this guitar in the studio. I still take it out live, but it's more of a backup guitar these days. I don't really take it out and play it a whole lot on stage because it's just real heavy and it's old and it's beat up and it's got repairs and stuff and everything, but it's been through it. This guitar has everything you see on this guitar is either honest play wear or me being dumb and spilling something on it or dropping it and breaking it or something. You know what I mean? Like it's all from being out in the real world and being through, the war zone that is touring in a DIY band and playing gigs every weekend and living in a trailer and being unloaded and unloaded every other day and that kind of thing, right? This guitar has been through multiple sets of tuners, multiple sets of pickups, multiple wiring harnesses, because I would just sweat through the wiring harnesses and corrode the pots, and I sweated through a bridge pickup one time, and just all kinds of stuff, right? So, and there are a lot of people that feel like this is how they should all be, right? Like, you should buy a guitar brand new, and you should take it on the road, and all the wear on it should be genuine, right? Like, that's how a lot of people feel about this topic. And, okay, but that brings up, so let's take this in baby steps, right? Sure, okay, genuine, I did it, it's all me, wear and aging to this guitar, right? Let's take it one step further, alright? Put that guy back in the case. Bang it on the case, add to it, right? This is my 1987 Gibson Les Paul Custom. And you can see this guy has tons of wear. This guitar was originally Alpine White. It is not Alpine White anymore. I mean, it has tons of buckle rash and everything. I mean, you know, look at it, right? Like, there's some sticker residue on the side of the guitar right here where someone, not me, had a sticker on it. That's what I'm going to get to in a minute. You know, big chip out of the headstock there. Look, like all of the clear coat is like rubbed off this side of the neck and it's just white again. And you can even see bare wood here a little bit. And, you know, this is a guitar that someone loved and they played the crap out of it. But that person wasn't me. Okay, I bought this guitar 4 years ago. Alright? This guitar looked like this when I got it. I didn't do all this. I didn't add all this to it. Right? I bought a, at the time, 33-year-old guitar. Now it's 37-year-old guitar. Right? And, yeah, this is all genuine wear and genuine aging and everything like that. But I didn't do it. Okay? Someone else did it all. And then I just bought an old guitar. So, if your stance is all the wear should be genuine, it should be something you've done, you should take it out on the road and do it. Do those people have a problem with stuff like this? My guess is probably not. Right? Oh, well, I mean, someone did it. It's still genuine. It was still taken out on the road. And I'm not trying to come off condescending towards these people, but it's kind of hard not to, if I'm being honest, because I think it's kind of a ridiculous take. And when I pull the Murphy Lab back out, I'll explain why. But, you know, these old guitars that have had a lot of genuine play wear on them, they have a certain feel to them. They don't feel like brand new guitars, right? Like, I mean, look at this neck. With the clear coat gone, and these little divots in it, and the raw wood exposed, and stuff like that, right? Like, they have such a different kind of feel to them than a brand new, super glossed guitar is going to have, right? The guitar, you hear guitar players say this, right? It feels broken in, right? And what that's from is the fretboard edges on this guitar are super rounded over. They're not sharp, they're not angled, they're super rounded over and smooth. The finish has a really nice, smooth, like, you know, feel to it and everything, and it doesn't feel like a brand new gloss guitar neck does. It doesn't feel that way, right? Even the edges here around the body, they're more rounded off from your arm and stuff. They have kind of a softness to them. Like you can see right here where this clear coat is rubbed off of this binding, and there's a little bit, you can kind of see where it's a little whiter in color. Like it, if you get used to this feel, and a lot of people just think this is more comfortable in general, me being one of them, but you get used to this feel of how old guitars feel and how rounded over everything is and how kind of broken in, and like, think about it like a brand new pair of shoes. Like, brand new pair of shoes is real stiff, especially like, think about like high-end dress shoes, okay? Like, I got married not too long ago, and I bought a really nice, expensive pair of dress shoes, leather, you know, everything, and they were real stiff, real tight, they weren't comfortable, and I took them to a shoe shop, and the guy stretched them out with some tools he had, and he let them set for a few days, and he oiled them and stuff and everything, and when I got them back, they were much more comfortable, and they felt broken in, you know, and they were easier to walk in, right? It's a very similar thing here. It's, the guitar feels broken in, it feels more comfortable to play, it feels like, you know, it's been through that experience, right? So, getting back to a new guitar that's been artificially aged and stuff, right? I think a lot of people, when they think of a Relic'd guitar, they just think of, oh, you took a new guitar and you beat it up and it looks like it's been beat up. And that's not, there's so much more to it than that, right? This guitar feels that way. It's got these nice rolled fingerboard edges. right? The finish is a little smoother. It's not as sticky. It's, you know, the guitar feels more broken in. And if that's a thing you like, you're not going to get that from a brand new guitar. And, you know, people are going to say, oh, we'll just play it for 20 years. Well, some people don't do that, right? If you're a hobbyist, you know, or a collector or something, or you just, maybe you have a band and you play every couple of months or something, right? 20 years, a guitar won't even get that to it, right? For guitars to get like those two guitars have gotten, they have to really be put through it. They have to really be played, toured, gigged on every day, you know, that not everyone does that. Not everyone is a professional musician. Not everyone is in a touring band. Not everyone, you know, plays guitar hours and hours a day and travels with their guitars and stuff. Like, not everyone does that, right? So, if you want a guitar with, you know, rolled fingerboard edges and kind of a worn-in finish and it kind of has that feel to it, there are a lot of reasons why you would buy a new guitar that has been Relic'd and not an old guitar. Alright, this was a brand new guitar. Now, yes, I did a bunch of modifications to this guitar when I got it, but those were just me being specific about different things I wanted, right? It didn't require any of those modifications. It didn't need anything done to it when I got it. And that's the selling point of a new guitar that feels good and, or feels old and looks old, is it doesn't require you to have to work on it or anything, right? Like, those guitars require maintenance all the time because they're old and they're beat up and they've been through the ringer. I gotta work on them. It's like an old car. You think about it like owning an old, like, you know, 70s Chevelle or a Camaro or something, right? You gotta work on those cars. You gotta work on them all the time. Parts go out. They're old. They need a lot more attention and care and maintenance than brand new cars do. It's the same with a guitar. Plus, a brand new guitar comes with a manufacturer's warranty. It might come with a warranty from the store you bought it for, a return policy, all those kinds of benefits, right? So if you get a new guitar and you don't like it, you can send it back. Or if you drop it and it breaks and something happens to it, you can just send it back and get a new one, right? Depending on what kind of, you know, warranty or manufacturer's thing or whatever, you know, might be in place, right? When you buy 30, 20-year-old guitars, you know, you don't have any of that. If I bought that guitar, that white Les Paul Custom, and everything on it didn't work and it was malfunctioning and stuff, I gotta fix that, right? My black Les Paul, like I said, that guitar's been through all these different wiring harnesses and pickups. I've been on the road with it and pots have died and I've had to swap pots out sitting in the back of the trailer before a gig and stuff like that. Like, that guitar's been through it, so it'll constantly need work. You know, it'll need a refret soon. The white one's gonna need a refret probably within the next few years, right? Like, frets are getting worn out. They're just played all the time, and they've been played for decades at this point, and they're gonna need work. This guitar is not gonna need any work for a long time. Said, other than me being really picky about like the kind of pickups I like and the, you know, just certain aesthetic things, it didn't need any modifications when I got it. Brand new guitar, right out the box, perfectly set up. You know, I mean, custom shop, you're paying that money, right? It set up great, right? Like, pull it out of the box, tune it up, play it just like that for the next 30 years, right? Like, that's the benefit of buying a new guitar that looks old and feels old, but isn't actually old. You want the look and the feel, but under the hood, you want all brand new, warranted electronics and stuff and everything like that. That's the point of buying a guitar like this. So, maybe that'll help you be a little more kind of informed and like understanding of like what a Relic'd guitar really is all about. Do they look cool? That's totally subjective. Maybe you think they don't look cool. Maybe you don't think beat up old guitars look cool. I know people that don't like how those guitars look. They want their guitars to look mint as possible, as long as they can look that way, you know? And I don't know, that's just not me. I like old beat up stuff. I like rat rods, you know, like old rusted out beat up cars and hot rods and stuff, and I like vintage guitars that kind of have their own story to them and their own vibe, and, you know, I love vintage guitars that have been repaired or refinished or whatever it might be, right? Like, I've seen a couple of guitars that, like, survive floods and stuff, and they just look super gnarly, you know, or like, one of my favorites is like Jared James Nichols, the blues guitarist. He has a 52 gold top that survived a tornado, and it got slung out of somebody's house in a tornado, and he has it now, and it had to have a new neck put on it and everything, and it's so gnarly looking, and I love stuff like that, and a lot of people do too. So, you know, when you see this checking on here and stuff like that, does it feel the same as those guitars do? Not 100%. It doesn't. I'm not gonna lie and say that it does. It doesn't. Does the finish feel exactly the same as those? No, it doesn't. Because you can't replicate 20, 30 plus years of like genuine play on the neck. You just can't do it. The way the oils in your skin interact with the finish and wear things down, right? Like, that's going to be so unique to you as a player. So if you have a guitar you've been playing for, you know, decades, it's going to have a very specific to you kind of feel, right? This doesn't have that yet. This is still a new finish, but it's a little softer than a brand new Les Paul. It's a little, you know, like they do some work to it. They get as close as they can, as they're able to. And for someone like me who's used to playing old guitars, when I took this right out of the box and started playing it, it felt closer to what I want. You know what I mean? It was a more enjoyable experience for me right out the gate than just buying a brand new guitar and like having to play it for a few years to kind of wear it in, right? Like my black Les Paul, when I first got it, I remember I actually didn't like the way it played. I didn't like the way it felt, I should say. You know, the way it plays is, you can change that. You can adjust the action, adjust the neck and stuff. But I didn't like the way the neck felt. I didn't like the way the finish felt. But over the years of playing it, it became very comfortable, and I actually really did start to like the way it felt as it started to wear in and stuff like that. If you're an older person, like, I mean, I'm not ancient or anything, but I mean, I'm 37 years old, and I don't tour anymore. I'm not going to have the ability to buy a brand new guitar and put 20 years of touring and stuff and everything like that on top of it to get it to feel like those guitars feel. I'm just not. And most people will never have the opportunity to put that kind of time and experience into a guitar, right? So that's what buying guitars like this does for people. It ticks that box of like, I want a guitar that feels old and looks old and has that broken in, worn in kind of vintage feel to it. And again, it's not a 1-for-1. It's not 100% accurate, but it's close enough. It's close enough. And you don't have to deal with all the problems and issues that come with actually buying vintage guitars. Because actually buying vintage guitars is a total shot in the dark. And if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not a tech or a luthier, I really don't, and I have a video about this too, I really don't recommend buying vintage guitars for most people. I don't recommend it. Because they come with a plethora of issues, and you never know what's going to pop up next. You never know what kind of issue you're going to have next. And if you're just someone that likes to sit around and play guitar at their house, or you got friends you jam with, or you have a band and you play one show every 2 or 3 months or something like that, you don't want an old guitar that isn't reliable, right? You want something that you can depend on all the time. But you might want it to feel like an old guitar. You might even want it to look like an old guitar, right? So, anyway, that's my take on Relic'd guitars. I dig them. Dig them a lot, obviously, or I wouldn't have bought one. There are some that look better than others, so that's just the thing, is you got to get out there and find the ones you think look the most convincing or look the best, or, you know, whatever. Right, so I hope you guys liked the video. Leave me a comment and let me know what your take on Relic guitars is, and let's be civil about it. Don't come in there hot, swinging, screaming about how much you hate Relic guitars, right? I mean, if you don't like them, that's fine. No one's forcing you to like them. But just be cool-headed about it, right? So, thank you guys for tuning into the video. I hope you enjoy this kind of content, and I will be back soon.